Please take the business news. The federal government on Monday announced that no unlicensed petroleum product dealer would be allowed to load products from June 1, 2023, stating that it will shut down such businesses beginning from that day. The federal government warned that from June 1, 2023, anyone who wants to deal on petroleum products must obtain a license, stressing that no license and no loading of petroleum products. The government gave the warning in Abuja through the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority at a stakeholders' engagement on gas utilization. The objective of the engagement was to enlighten operators on the need to urgently obtain the requisite petroleum storage license and to engender the transition from white products to gas. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, disclosed on Monday during the ceremony to inaugurate the Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemical Facility in Igbejuleki, Lagos, that the federal government may save about 35 trillion naira in fiscal expenditure within the next 5 years with the commencement of the operations at the Dangote Refinery and Petrochemicals.
Importantly, this project avails Nigeria with significant savings both in terms of foreign exchange and in easing the fiscal burden of our federal government. Available data at Central Bank of Nigeria as of 2014 shows that at least 30% of the foreign exchange required to meet Nigeria's import needs went into the importation of refined petroleum products. It is instructive to note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that according to the balance of payment statistics, the cost, including the freight, of petroleum products imports into Nigeria doubled over a 5-year period from about $8.4 billion in 2017 to $16.2 billion, including an annual average of $11 billion, before rising further to $23.3 billion at the end of 2022. At this rate, the average annual cost of petroleum products import to Nigeria could reach $30 billion by 2027 if we continue to rely on petroleum imports. These figures, Your Excellencies, suggest that the refinery could engender foreign exchange savings to our country of between $25 and $13 billion annually. Aside from the nearly $30 billion foreign exchange savings from the reduction in petroleum products, the economy is projected to benefit an extra $10 billion of foreign exchange inflow annually through the export of refined products.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who inaugurated the Dangote refinery, which is currently the world's largest single-train petroleum refiner, noted that his administration had been deliberate about ensuring public-private partnerships, describing the refinery as a milestone for the Nigerian economy and a game-changer for the downstream petroleum market on the African continent.
63, the Africa we all want. But to achieve the goals of Agenda 2063, Africa must come together. We must integrate our economies, eliminate barriers to trade, and energize our youthful population to scale up our productive capacity. We must create necessary conditions for our private sector to grow and partner with the public sector to accelerate economic growth across the continent. We must not allow outside powers to use some of our leaders to destabilize our economic and political trajectory. The footprints of the Dangote Group and other Nigerian entrepreneurs are popping up in an increasing number of sister African countries. I am confident that my successor, His Excellency Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will sustain the improvement in our economic and business environment and strengthen the framework of our public partnership policies to accelerate the pace of our economic growth and development.
The Presidential Flood Committee on Monday announced that Nigeria would require about 3.4 trillion naira to address flood disasters across the country, particularly during the raining season. Sulaiman Adamu, chairman of the committee, who is also the Minister of Water Resources, announced this during a press briefing in Abuja while presenting the recommendations of the committee as contained in a report put together by his team. The committee also recommended the establishment of an 18-man National Flood Management Council to be chaired by the Vice President of Nigeria. The Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, Kashifu Inua, has stated that almost 30% of Africa's foreign direct investment ends in Nigeria. According to him, the Nigeria tech ecosystem has attracted about $4.4 billion investment in 2015, 2019, and 2020 cumulatively, and the ICT sector contributed about 18.5% to the country's gross domestic product. Inua stated this at the Leaders Without Borders Annual Business Summit and International Honors 2023 in London with the theme Business Beyond Borders, Global Partnerships and Sustainable Investments, a global event that brings together business leaders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders from around the world to promote collaboration and innovation in the business world. He noted that the digital economy had created a pathway for emerging technologies, providing opportunities for talented youth in Africa to emerge as global leaders through harnessing their potentials. The African Development Bank Group President Dr. Akinwumi Adesina stated at the ongoing 2023 AFDB annual meetings in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt on Monday that Africa will need about $2.7 trillion by 2030 to finance climate change. According to the bank's president, climate change is causing tremendous havoc in many parts of the continent, noting that in the Sahel, hotter temperatures are drying up limited water, causing water stress for crops and livestock, and worsening food insecurity. He explained that in vast areas of eastern, southern Africa, and in the Horn of Africa in particular, there was a combination of drought and floods that are causing massive losses. Adesina also mentioned that Africa loses $7 to $15 billion a year from climate change that is expected to rise to $50 billion by 2040 at the current trend. Tech giant Google has expanded its Flood Hub platform to cover 80 countries worldwide, including the addition of 8 new countries in Africa. According to Google, the expansion came as a part of AI-enabled efforts to address the devastating impacts of floods and provide critical support to vulnerable communities. The Flood Hub platform now offers forecasts up to 7 days in advance, benefiting a population of 460 million people globally. The Flood Hub platform has been available in several African countries prior to this expansion, including Angola, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Chad, Democratic Republic of Congo, Ghana, Guinea, Ivory Coast, Liberia, Malawi, Namibia, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, South Sudan, South Africa. The expansion brings the total number of African countries covered by the platform to 23. The 8 new countries added in Africa include Burundi, Eswatini, Guinea-Bissau, Lesotho, Madagascar, Rwanda, Senegal, and Zimbabwe. And that's it for now. For other business news,